So ask yourself this: am I building something scalable, or am I just chasing that feeling of growth? Because a lot of us are just chasing the feeling to justify us being happy with our plateau. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. This episode is speaking to me, my headspace, where I want to be. It's strategic discomfort versus boredom discomfort. We're going to talk about when it's time to grow horizontally versus vertically. Closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD Podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. This is a topic that's been on my mind a lot the past few months, and I think it's always fun to do a podcast about it because it helps me think through the thoughts, give you insight and wisdom of someone who has failed, who's been through it and such. So the topic today, I'm gonna get right into it, is strategic discomfort versus boredom discomfort. All right. So there's a phase in every practice where nobody really talks about this. You go from a startup and it's chaos. It's crazy. You're just trying to put out fires, but something happens. You actually start getting momentum. The chaos turns into it's actually working, right? Systems are working. Your schedule starts to be full. Team seems to be solid. Hey, you have a business, right? And instead of feeling successful, you get this weird antsy feeling like, what should I do next? Am I supposed to be here? Should I keep pushing? How do we grow? And comfort is where most of us stop. You get comfortable, you get a steady paycheck, your schedule's full. Shoot, you've hit what you need to, right? That's where bad decisions start. Okay? And I've done this, and this is me talking from perspective of maybe 10 years of I started practice. It was going pretty well in my mind. I started cold. I didn't know what I was getting into. I'm like, hey, I'm going to start another practice. And it was more because I was antsy and restless and I didn't have a business. So let's get into this. Okay. Right now, in my current state, I went from 1,600 square feet to 3,500 square feet, 3 primary care lanes, 3 treatment rooms, added an associate, doubled my staff. And for about a year, a little bit of chaos. Probably 6 months was more of the chaos of me figuring out how to manage my associate in a way that is going to make her successful, how to have my new team, how to fix the bottlenecks, right? And that's something that you'll hear often is bottleneck. I was the bottleneck or my manager was the bottleneck. We were just doing the things. And like I said, it was a little chaos, but then we figured it out. We started to build systems very intentionally. And in all reality, my associate right now is producing at least 80% of my production. And I've increased my production. We're doing really, really well. So now I'm in this spot and I'm thinking, what's next? What do I do now? And the mistake, like I said, I made a decade ago was let's grow horizontally versus vertically. Vertical growth is different than horizontal growth, and I'll kind of get to that. But remember the comfort. You have good income, stable practice, you know what to expect. You can either stop pushing, or like I said, you start to make bad decisions. And bad decisions are buying equipment that you don't need, that you don't believe in. Starting another office when you haven't built the first one to the point that it is scalable, right? Just because it's running and it's operational and you're doing well does not mean it's scalable. Now I'll explain that. That's kind of where I'm at right now. To be a scalable office, you need to repeat what you're doing in your current office another time. And you can do that internally. It does not have to be with another location. And that's what we're going to talk about. But like I said, strategic is good, complacency is bad, and boredom is worse. All right. Strategic. What is your game plan? How are you going to get there? I'm going to explain my strategic plan. Comfort doesn't really sit with me very well. I think that's what stopped me from growing the past like 5 years is I was comfortable. I wanted to grow, but I was doing all these probably boredom decisions. And boredom is, like I said, adding things you don't need. I was trying to grow myopia management. Okay, I'm going to be a myopia management specialist. I've toyed with vision therapy. I toyed with scleral lenses, right? All of these things were really just boredom. And I found my thing, ocular surface and dry eye. Since I've gotten strategic, we've gotten rid of anything related to binocular vision. We get that out of our office. When it comes to scleral lenses, we don't do them. We send that out. I'll send to other ODs. I have no problem doing that. And we are building something really awesome with Rejuvenation Dry Eye Center. So I call that RDEC affectionately. Growing, booming, have the numbers to see it. That's awesome. So this dangerous little transition phase that you can get into is comfort versus chasing chaos. Okay, comfort, you just coast, you maintain, and you'll slowly plateau. There's nothing wrong with that, except that you're going to get beat. Other people are going to come and they're going to take a piece of the pie that you probably could have owned. Chaos is just adding complexity that doesn't need to be there, trying to build something that isn't ready to grow, or breaking things that were working. I hear that boredom thing, and I think that was me chasing chaos and just making decisions to say, hey, I'm making decisions. I'm much more strategic now. So you can either stop growing or you're going to grow in the wrong way. That's kind of the two bad places to be. What I'm doing right now, how I'm trying to grow vertically. I took every step of the process from online marketing, people becoming aware of us, to when they check out to recall. And we systematize every single step. Every step in the process, we have an SOP for, we have a plan for, and the bottleneck. Remember that word bottleneck. It's not me, it's not my office manager. When we get to a point and I'd ask my office manager, why are they coming to you? Why is it breaking here? Because we were the bottleneck. How do we get a system that doesn't need us? And we implemented it. And like I said, operations are now smooth. I can remove myself from the office for weeks at a time and it doesn't break. Pretty cool. My associate, like I said, can produce at least 80% of what I do. That's a very good practice to be in. Now, instead of saying, I have this made, I have this built, let's go. What am I doing? Remember that vertical growth, my long-term vision. I'm adding another associate. I'm going to give it 6 to 12 months to see if I can get him up to speed to be 80% of what I was doing. If I can, then I know I have a system. I know I can build that. I essentially am replacing myself. If I can't replace myself and he cannot produce at that 80% click, I don't have a business that is scalable yet. Right? So I'm not just starting another location. I'm building a system within my office. So step 1 was adding the associate. Got her up to speed. She's doing great, thriving, does not need me. Needs me for vision, where our focus is, where we're going to go, how we want to grow, but we do that together. The second associate is the real test. Did I, just get lucky, or do I have something that I can rinse and repeat with? Okay? So, my long-term play, if I can replace myself, if the new associate, the second associate, can be at 80% of what I'm doing in 12 months, I'm then going to replace myself with a third associate there. I won't be seeing patients at that office, and I'll start another location. I will build that up because I know what I can do. Add another doctor, rinse and repeat. Grow, scale, add. And that gives me the juice I need to manage a highly functioning, awesome office, give them vision, direct them, guide them, be a mentor. And then I get the juice of starting something new, building it, growing it. I have the systems in place to make sure we're doing what we need to. Bring in another doctor to that new location, mentor them, guide them, start a new one, rinse and repeat. Right? That's kind of my plan. I'm not trying to grow fast. I'm trying to grow repeatable. Okay? That's strategy, that's growth, that's looking at what I have right now and maximizing it before I create more chaos. Because I've had that second office and it sucked because I was the bottleneck. I didn't have a system in place. I was doing everything. I look at the idea of starting another office and I've done it and I'm like, man, that really sucks until I take myself out of this current location and see it thrive without me. And then I'm in my mind, I can do so much more than just seeing patients. I love it. I like it, but that's what that other location is for. And what I will do is RDAC is still the vision. Dry eye is what we need to do. But if I can find strategic locations that are, spoke and wheel, hub and spoke, whatever that is, spoke and wheel, where I can find great places that I can refer to a central location, my Allendale office, and that becomes the Rejuvenation Dry Eye Center central hub. Family Vision Optical has a bunch of different locations across, West Michigan, and we're referring our dry eye patients to RDAC. That's awesome. That still stays with my vision. I'm not trying to create more, refraction places. Everything is to feed the main office, to build that system, to build more relationships, to get more infrastructure. Because that's the dream, that's the vision. I like where that's going. So this is what you need to sit back and ask yourself. If you're thinking, do I need to expand? What do I need to do? Where does growth need to happen? If you're feeling antsy, ask yourself these questions. Does the business run without you daily? Are systems documented? Can the team operate independently? Have you proven that an associate can come in and thrive in your environment? That's a huge question because that's the biggest hurdle I had to climb. I think I've got it, but I got to see and prove that it's not just this one. Is there another? And do you understand your numbers? Like, ask yourself those things. And if you don't have it like just dialed in to the best, keep working on it. Nothing about this has to be immediate. And that's the thing that we lose when we live in a finite game. If it's infinite and there's no end, you will not lose. Just keep playing the game. Right? Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game. Hormozy talks all the time about the infinite game. Play forever. You don't have to be fast. Now, remember, if this comes up at all, you're still the glue. When you're gone, things break. Profitability is not optimized. That associate is not producing nearly at the level that you can. You don't have a great environment for that associate, right? Maybe it's a bad associate, but again, you're not always going to get the best of the best. Can you create an environment that lets them thrive? Good systems. And can you replace yourself? I know. Like, I talk to my manager and key people in my office, and I tell them, don't take me trying to take your job and duplicating it so someone else can do it as a bad sign. Because I'm literally doing that for myself because you are at a level that you can do more. We have bigger plans for you. Growth does not happen without a team. So replace yourself. If it only works because of you, it's not a business you can scale. Period, flat out. So I guess that's something that I've realized over this past few years is that going from an OD operator to an operator / CEO, right? The builder, you're going to be in chaos. You're solving everything. To now, when you're an operator, You're looking at systems, you're replicating what you do, you're patient. There's a plan in place. And sometimes there's a little, hiccup here or there, but there's a plan in place. And then if you get an opportunity, because they're always going to be abundant coming in, does it fit with your vision? I've had so many opportunities come in this past year and a half. Said no to most of them. I had another location that was strategically pretty close in an area that I wanted, affordable, but I looked at my business and I said, I don't have a system that can scale yet. Not the right time. Another opportunity has come. We're in a good position. It fits in my mind with building RDEC. I'm going to explore it a little more. You have to be able to have that judge, that filter, and know where you're going. A builder craves chaos. A CEO creates structure. And again, CEO mindset. That's what I'm beating into our heads this past year because that's what I want in my mind. That's what I'm trying to think about is what is the structure? What is the plan? What is the vision? Does it all line up? And really, the hard part is not building. It's slowing down to build something that can grow without you. And that's scary too, because your identity, at least mine, was tied into good numbers, good growth. That's me. When I leave the central location of Allendale and I go to that other one and I'm building it and building it up, but I see the main office still getting bigger and better, and I'm not there every day. Well, do they need me? The answer should be no, right? That's the business. But I have the vision. I guide them. It's a different mindset. It's a really hard mentality to grasp when you've been in this early phase, when you're starting your practice. But I look around at the people who are where I want to be, and they already have it. They don't get caught up in this. They've went through this transition, and that's what I'm trying to help you understand, help you go through so you can do it quicker than I have, because it's taken me 15 years and I'm still wrestling with it right now. I didn't even realize it was a thing until about 2 years ago. Right? I just thought that I don't know, I thought it was one of one. It was just too hard to scale, too much effort. It was me avoiding the strategic discomfort, the good discomfort, and taking my boredom discomfort as a sign that I was still trying to get better. Speaking to myself here mainly. So remember, comfort is the ceiling, but not all discomfort leads to growth. Some of that discomfort is just going to create chaos and keep you stagnant. Help you sleep at night and justify you're trying your best, it can't be done. Look around, people have already done it. Right? You're not reinventing the wheel. Let's go. So ask yourself this. Am I building something scalable, or am I just chasing that feeling of growth? Because a lot of us are just chasing the feeling to justify us being happy with our plateau. Hey, we got a little bit of growth. We're up a little bit. We're even. It's a tough market. No one can grow in this market. You know what? I'm in a small pond. My city's only so big. That's why we're not growing anymore. I wish I would have started somewhere bigger. All of those are lies that we tell to ourselves. And all of those are lies I literally have said to myself. So if you're like, hey, he's calling me out or whatnot, no, I'm really just talking to myself. But I have a plan for where I want to go. I feel comfortable and confident, and I have juice when I think about this vision. Because I was sitting in my office the other day and thinking, if I don't grow and expand, what am I going to do? Like, I can get this bigger. There's still mountains to climb. But if I just wake up every Monday morning and know that I'm going to see patients Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, work on the office and the staff Thursday, and kind of have a vision day on Fridays, but I'm just staying here, that's not really what I want to do right now. That doesn't get me excited about what's ahead. Now I tell you, I got a new associate coming in. I'm going to get him up to 80% of my production. At that point, I'm going to cut down at this location and think about bringing in a part-time doc, building them up, and then me starting another location. I have all the systems in place. I'll just grab one staff member and then hire a few new ones, and we're going to grow this from a cold start or established start, depending on where, what, or when. And get it building. That gives me juice. I'm excited about that. I like that energy. The complacency, the knowing what to expect day to day, and the monotony of just seeing patients doesn't get me hyped. But a new location and growing it from something that was small to something that's big sounds really good. But once it becomes repeatable and I can just put another associate in there and they're at 80% of what I can do, am I needed? No, where's the next thing? That gives me juice. So that's my journey. That's how I'm viewing this. What is your journey? Where are you going? Think about this. Like, don't build that second office until you've built the first one in something worth repeating. Is your current location worth repeating? I've listened to so many optometry podcasts, and someone says, I want to sell this office and start the practice that I want to work in. What the crap? You have the office overhead. Practice the way you want to practice right now. That's what I'm trying to do. Build something worth repeating. That's what I got. We'll have more for you next week. Where has the time gone? We are to the closing thought of the episode, and I have something I heard about Alexander the Great, and I loved hearing this, and then there was a twist on it. So he wept when he realized there were no more worlds to conquer. That sounded really cool. I love that. Like, he got that far and there was nothing more to do. That is my juice and energy, right? But the actual quote, I believe, was, and this is, again, I'm hearing this secondhand from a Modern Wisdom podcast, but the actual quote is, there was an infinite number of worlds and he realized that he had not conquered even one. Well, that's a little bit of the other way of that, right? Not that he got everything. It's just there were so many things to do and he never dialed into one. And he realized at the end, I didn't optimize what I could have been. So I don't know what that says to you. Like, the juice of, like, I conquered so many different things that here I am. I'm great. Or I'm trying to do everything here. And at the end of my days, I'm going to look back and say, I wasn't great at anything because I tried to do too much. Maybe just be the king of one castle. Figure out what that is. Maximize it. Make your life the most it can be. I think about that often right now. I love that I've created a world that I get to go away from the office for a couple weeks at a time here. And I know it's going to run. Things are going to be done. We're still operating at a high level. I get to spend time with my wife, my kids, because I look at moments now and I see, like, my wife doing my daughter's hair. And I realize, like, there's going to be a time when she does her own hair. And she'll go back and then eventually she'll have a granddaughter. And she does that and she'll look and say, she'll be doing the daughter's hair and she'll be thinking of her daughter that's watching her do that and just imagining she's in that moment. I'm in that moment right now. Want to make the most of it. Time is fleeting. What you choose to spend it on is honestly a choice that you get to make. Make sure it counts. Don't be that second quote where you had an infinite number of worlds and you couldn't even conquer one. Try to find the juice out of the he wept because there's nothing more to conquer. And just do that with one. That's what I have for you. Dr. Lily out.